When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Hello, sorry about that. We've got a little bit of issues with the sound. But yes, welcome to Big Nerd Pub Quiz. Another one. It's the 4th of October. It's my mum's birthday. So big happy birthday to her. As you can see, we've got brand new graphics in the background. We've got some fantastic graphics from the drone footage that we shot a couple of weeks ago with one absolutely fantastic. But yes, we are going to kick off our
This baby.
That's a thing. Let's go to the next. Question 2. Which kids' TV presenter has had to refute that he is not the anonymous graffiti artist Banksy? So yes, what is the name? Which kids' TV presenter has had to refute that he is not the anonymous graffiti artist Banksy? It's kind of an interesting thing that he's had to kind of come out and actually said this is not him. But yes, which kids' TV presenters had to refute that he is not the anonymous graffiti artist Banksy? It's round 1, question 2. It's kind of a funny one, this, because it was one of those things that's been an urban legend for quite a while now that's come out, and it's actually made the news. Must have been a slow day news day when it came out, but it was an interesting thing. Anyway, moving on, round 1, on to question. Yes, who won the men's London Marathon today? So yes, they ran the London Marathon today, but albeit on a very short track, having postponed it all the way back in April. But round 1, question 3, who won the men's marathon all the way back today, having to wait all the way since April to run it? And loads of people I know were up and about the country actually running virtual marathons or marathons out in the street. But yes, this is for the elites only. But who won today's London Marathon? It's round 1, question 3. Moving on. Round 1, question 4. So round 1, question 4. Which Scottish indie rock band announced they'll be releasing a new album 7 years after making Later When the TV Turns to Static, all the way back in 2013. It's a bit of a kind of a lull of creativity for these guys, but they've slated the album release for roughly about April 2021. But yes, round 1, question 4. Which Scottish indie rock band announced they'd be releasing a new album 7 years after making Later When the TV Turns to Static, all the way back in 2013. That's round 1, question 4. Round 1, question 5. Which cinema chain sadly announced that they would be closing due to the pushback of the new James Bond film? Yes, awful tragic to hear about this. It's a fantastic chain of cinemas, and they've actually had to close recently due to the coronavirus crisis. And obviously they were waiting on the release of the new James Bond movie to kind of actually shore them up for the next couple of months. But sadly, No Time to Die has been pushed back again. It was meant to come out in April. It was meant to come out again sometime in October there. And now they've just pushed it back to the new year, to 2021. But yes, which cinema chain announced that they would be closing due to a pushback of the new James Bond film? That's round 1, question 5. And finally, round 1, question 6, another sports related question, but which NHL team won the Stanley Cup this week? So yes, round 1, question 6. I know a couple of big hockey fans out there. I know obviously guys who follow the Belfast Giants and everything like that, and keep an eye on the stuff that's happening in Canada and in America. But which NHL team won the Stanley Cup this week? Let's see. Stanley Cup is, of course, the major playoff game, the championship game of the NHL, the National Hockey League, which encompasses Canada and America. But yes, they actually got around to playing the final Stanley Cup games this week. But which team actually won it? That's round 1, question 6. And there's a roundup of your questions here for this general knowledge quiz this week. Well, here we go, round 1, question 1. What was the name of the first satellite launched by the Soviet Union on this day in 1957? 2. Which kids' TV presenter has had to refute that he is not the anonymous graffiti artist Banksy? 3. Who won the men's London Marathon today? 4. Which Scottish indie rock band announced to be releasing a new album next year, 7 years after making Later When the TV Turns to Static? 5. Which cinema chain announced that it's going to be closing due to the pushback of the new James Bond film? And 6. Which NHL team, which national hockey team won the Stanley Cup this week? All right, so 1 down, 7 to go. Hope you're all well. If you want to have a shout out at any point throughout the quiz, by all means get in touch with us via different social media channels. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you look us up at Big Nerd Pub Quiz, and do check out the brand new Harbourside Radio website. We've just launched it about 2 weeks ago now. Big shout out to Ryan who designed it. It's looking absolutely fantastic. You get information on all the shows that are coming up, a little bit of biographical information about all the presenters that are on this brand new radio station coming out of Warren Point Harbourside Complex here, and links to all the different shows, SoundCloud, and how to get in touch. So if you want to shout out at any point, do get in touch via any of all those different social media channels. Anyway, moving on. The quiz should bring us right up till 9. Time now is 12 minutes past 8. Next question round is music. Yes, I've themed this week's music round, round 2, for legendary albums. So I'm going to be giving you 6 questions about fantastic legendary albums from across the last couple of decades. Anyway, you should know all these if you're a big music buff. So here we go, round 2, question number 1. So here we go. Wish You Were Here, the 1975 Pink Floyd album, was a tribute to which former member of the group? Round 2, question number 1. So round 2, question 1. Wish You Were Here, the 1975 Pink Floyd album, was a tribute to which former member of the group? It's round 2, question number 1. Fantastic album. It came off the heels of Dark Side of the Moon. It's considered to be, again, one of the Pink Floyd's finest creations, and one of their, definitely part of their golden period of the 1970s. But yes, round 2, question 1. Wish You Were Here, the 1975 Pink Floyd album, was a tribute to which former member of the group? Round 2, question 2. Who designed the cover for the Beatles' legendary album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? It's round 2, question 2. Yes, it was an interesting cover. If you look at it, it's got about 60 odd people there in the background. It's often been parodied. It's considered to be one of the greatest albums of all time. But if you look into the background there, you can see figures like Oscar Wilde, Bob Dylan. There's a little nod to the Rolling Stones in there. You've got all these fantastic people. There's Muhammad Ali. There's Madame Tussauds early waxworks of the Beatles there themselves. Jane Mansfield, Laurel and Hardy. But yeah, one of the best tributes to that is the 2016 album cover parody of that, of all the people who had passed away in 2016. Absolutely fantastic if you look it up. But who designed the legendary album cover for the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band all the way back in 1967? It's round 2, question 2. Round 2, question 3. Which Brian Wilson album was meant to be the follow-up for the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds? It was finally released in 2004 after nearly 35 years. In fact, Brian Wilson went on to perform the entire album live at Glastonbury, and they had such tracks. It was meant to be the kind of vehicle for the album. The album was meant to be the vehicle for the tracks Good Vibrations. So yeah, if you know that, it'll give you a clue of what album it's from. But yes, Brian Wilson, the genius behind Pet Sounds, went on to make this other, I nearly mentioned it, went on to mention it, I went on to make this album, but actually finally released it after 35 years in 2004. But name that album. Round 2, question 3. Round 2, question 4. This one for all the metalheads. But which album by Metallica is their biggest selling album of all time, with a record certified 16 times platinum in 2012? It's their biggest selling album. Some say they would have sold out and left their thrash metal roots behind, and others are saying that they were kind of embracing the more rock mainstream. But yes, round 2, question 4. Possibly their most well-known album due to the fact they've sold so many copies. But which album by Metallica is their biggest selling album of all time with a record certified 16 times platinum all the way back in 2012? It's probably more now. But anyway, round 2, question 4. Round 2, question 5. Which legendary horror actor provided the voiceover on the title track of the 1983 album Thriller? So round 2, question 5. Another one of the greatest albums, or greatest best-selling albums of all time. Michael Jackson's Thriller, produced by Quincy Jones all the way back in 1982, 1983. And it apparently was in the charts for so long. It was never out of the charts. It was constantly on the bestsellers top 500 for decades, and arguably one of Michael Jackson's finest albums. But who provided the legendary voiceover at the very end of the title track of Thriller all the way back in 1983? So round 2, question 5. And your final music question there. Oh, I shouldn't have that picture up. I'm going to take that off. Yeah. So round 2, question 6. Which album is the biggest selling album by a female solo artist? It's in the top 10 biggest selling albums of all time. I've listed 4 in the answer sheet there. I'm not going to give any clues to what it is. But yes, the biggest selling album by a female solo artist. Now, again, I did my research on this. The 4 options I've put there are the 4 top ones by female artists. You've got to figure out which one it is. But round 2, question 6. Which album is the biggest selling album by a female solo artist? That's round 2, question 6. Quick of the questions. So, Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd in 1975 is a tribute to which former member of the group? 2. Who designed the cover for the Beatles' legendary album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? 3. Which Brian Wilson album was meant to be the follow-up for the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, finally released in 2004? Number 4. Which album by Metallica is their best-selling of all time? 5. Which legendary horror actor appears in the title track of the album Thriller? And 6. Which album is the best-selling album by a female solo artist? Give you a couple of minutes on that while you just work that out. I might just have a swig of water here before we move on to the next round. And yeah, we've got like 6 more rounds left. Hope you find them interesting. Anyways, still kind of working out the new gremlins from the system. If you guys have been playing Big Nerd Pub Quiz from the very beginning, all the way back in March when I started this, you'll have noticed it was in my bedroom back at home, but now we're in the brand new studio. We've got all this kind of new trickery and everything like that, but I'm still kind of working out the new desk and the new sound system and everything like that. So apologies if the sound sounds a little bit funky at the moment, but yeah, it's really cool this here. Like, this is Narrowwater Castle. We shot this a couple of weeks ago when the weather was amazing and the tide was in, and yeah, if you've never been to Warm Point, then this is certainly a big advertisement for coming down and seeing our lovely part of the world in the Southtown Riviera. Okay, if you want to shout out at any point, do let me know on all the different social media channels, and we're going to move on to the next round. This one's for all you TV addicts out there. This is TV shows fictional schools. All right, I'm going to give you 6 fictional high schools, middle schools, community colleges. You've got to match it up to the TV show in which it appears most prominently. Okay, so this is for all you guys who have been out there watching tons and tons of box sets over the last couple of weeks and months. This shouldn't be too hard for you guys. But anyway, fictional schools. Here we go. Round 3, question number 1. Rudge Park Comprehensive. Gonna give you a clue on this one. It's a little bit closer to home. Relatively well-known comedy series. But Rudge Park Comprehensive, it's the name itself isn't mentioned that much in the TV show, and the actual location of it is an actual real school. But yes, round 3, question 1, Rudge Park Comprehensive, probably one of the funniest comedies of all time, British comedies of all time. Did I give too much away there? Anyway, round 3, question 1. Let's move on to the next one. Rudge Park Comprehensive. Question 2. This should be an easy one for all you kind of horror movie fans out there, but Sunnydale High. I kind of given a bit of a clue there to that. So fictional high school, but Sunnydale High. Which TV show is that the principal location there? So round 3, question 2. Sunnydale High. I'm sure loads of you have all been screaming at the TV and knowing that one. Anyway, round 3, question 2. Round 3, question 3. Tom Landry Middle School. I'll give you a clue with this one. It's an animated sitcom of sorts. It's very, very down to earth. It's I can't give you any more clues more than that. But, Tom Landry Middle School. The clues in the name maybe. Tom Landry himself was a coach of the famous Dallas Cowboys. So that might give you a clue about where this particular school is and which particular TV show we're talking about. But round 3, question 3, Tom Landry Middle School. All right, let's move on to the next one. Hawkins High School, round 3, question 4. Hawkins High School. Again, the clue is in the title. Well, not so much in the title, but the location. If you know the location where this very famous TV show is set, then you will be able to work out the school. So, almost kind of like Springfield, it's going to be The Simpsons, but Hawkins, Indiana, Hawkins High School. Again, it's a fictional place, but you might recognize the name from a particular TV show or a particular, So, I'm not going to say any more about that, but the clue is in the location. If you recognize the location, then you're halfway there. Anyway, round 3, question 4, Hawkins High School. Here we go. Round 3, question 5, Bayside High. This clue I'm going to give you is the fact that they're going to remake this one of many 90s remakes. This is a very, very well-known teen comedy or teen drama from the 90s. You'll have definitely watched it if you're a 90s kid like myself. But yes, round 3, question 5, Bayside High. I can't give any more. The primary setting of this place is a school. That's all I'm going to say. So round 3, question 5, Bayside High. And your final round 3, question 6, Greendale Community College. The only clue I'm going to give you there is, again, the clue might be in the title. Round 3, question 6, Greendale Community College. So let's see how you figure with that one. Again, like I said before, the title is in the clue's in the title there. So anyway, round 3, question 6. There's your roundup of high schools, fictional schools from television. Anyway, go through those one more time. Rudge Park Comprehensive. Number 2, Sunnydale High. 3, Tom Landry Middle School. 4, Hawkins High School. 5, Bayside High. 6, Greendale Community College. And those are your 6 fictional high schools. Let's see how you get on later on in that. Alright, so if this is your first time playing, like I said, we play all the way to the end. All you have to do is hit submit at the very end of your answer sheet and you'll get your scores right away. But do stick about to see how you got on at the very end of the quiz. As the quiz gets bigger, hopefully we'll get more sponsors and we'll be able to give out more prizes in the next couple of weeks as we see Harbourside Radio grow and grow and grow. But do be sure to check out our shows on the station. We're having a fantastic interview with the Burn Minor GAA team tomorrow night as part of Sports Point. That's with myself and Sarah. And I'm also doing my first ever music show on the station on Wednesday night as well. Really looking forward to that. But don't forget, Big O is on every morning from 10 till 12 with his breakfast show. So don't forget to tune into that. Anyway, moving on to the next round. History and politics. Yeah, something we kind of want to give a bit of a rest at the moment, but we can't really escape it. So in the spirit of what's happening right now, I've decided to theme this week's history and politics round all about American elections. Yes, we are now in the last 30 days in the run-up to the US election, a massive seismic political event that's watched all around the world, and we're waiting to see with bated breath whether Donald Trump gets another term or Joe Biden becomes the 46th president of the United States. All in the balance, all very, very curious and very interesting to watch. But anyway, here we go. Round 4, question number 1. So there they are, Biden and Trump. But which 2 US election candidates were the first to appear on a live television debate? Round 4, question 1. Yes, the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden was considered to be a bit of a car crash for both candidates, them just basically shouting at each other and telling each other to shut up. But whether or not the debates will be able to continue is going to be another matter, because Donald Trump is now currently in hospital with coronavirus, and Joe Biden is kind of left with no one to spar with. But there we are, round 4, question 1, which two US election candidates were the first to appear on a live television debate. And historically, they say, the actual television debate swung it for the candidate on the TV. Anyway, round 4, question 1. Round 4, question 2. What song by Fleetwood Mac did Bill Clinton use in his 1992 presidential campaign? Yes, Bill Clinton, a senator from Arkansas, was the rank outsider when it came to the election race in 1992. He ran with Al Gore, senator from Tennessee, and he beat the incumbent George W. Bush, which was George Herbert Walker Bush, which was a bit of a surprise. But yes, famously, Bill Clinton made the election campaign all about the economy, stupid, and used this very, very famous song by Fleetwood Mac in his campaign. And Bill was also a very famous saxophone player, but what song by Fleetwood Mac did he use in his 1992 campaign? So round 4, question 2. For question 3, who did Barack Obama defeat in his second presidential election in 2012? Yes, Barack Obama re-elected in 2012 after a stunning landslide of victory in 2008. The first African-American president of all time to be elected. But who did Barack Obama defeat in his second presidential election in 2012? Round 4, question 3. Round 4, question 4. Who was the first ever female candidate to run for vice president? You might remember this one. But yes, round 4, question 4. Who was the first ever female candidate to run for the office of vice president in the United States? It's round 4, question 4. Surprisingly, there have only been 3. Just to tell you, there's only been 3. Currently, Kamala Harris at the moment running with Biden. But who was the first ever female candidate to run for vice president? Round 4, question 4. Who's going to get the Veep? Round 4, question 5. Who was the oldest ever president elected to the White House? Yes, the candidates can range in age, but we've left with 2 very old candidates this year, Biden and Trump. It's 2 old white guys running for the presidency, which is like, come on. But anyway, round 4, question 5. Who was the oldest ever president elected to the White House? The youngest was actually John F. Kennedy. The youngest ever president was Theodore Roosevelt, who assumed the presidency after the death of William McKinley. But John F. Kennedy was the first youngest ever elected president. But yes, round 4, question 5. Who was the oldest ever president elected to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? And finally, round 4, question 6. In which US state did the contentious vote recount take place in the 2000 election race between George W. Bush and Al Gore? Yes, still contentious, still very kind of problematic in the way voting takes place around the country. But yes, in which US state did the contentious vote recount take place in the 2000 election race between George W. Bush and Al Gore? It actually prompted a massive recount, and it was also sorts of like kind of political misgivings, given the fact that various TV networks had called the election for Al Gore, but famously it didn't go in his favor, and George W. Bush took the White House in 2000. So there we go, round 4, question 6. And there's your roundup of your history and politics questions, all about the US elections. But yes, which 2 US election candidates were the first to appear on television as part of a live TV debate? 2, what song by Fleetwood Mac did Clinton use in his 92 campaign? 3, who did Barack Obama defeat in his second presidential election in 2012? 4, who was the first ever female candidate to run for vice president? 5, who was the oldest ever president elected to the White House? And 6, in which US state did the vote recount take place between Al Gore and George W. Bush? Sometimes I have to think, what the world would have been like if Al Gore became president. But it's kind of one of those things. He's had a kind of quite a fulfilling kind of post-presidency career, as a kind of environmental activist, Inconvenient Truth and everything, and winning an Oscar and everything. So he's not doing too bad. Anyway, time now is 8:30. We've got half an hour ago. We've just right up to the halfway point of today's quiz. Hope you're all enjoying it. Don't forget, if you want to hire the Big Nerd Pub Quiz for a private event, by all means you can do so. I've done quite a few now, actually, including one for the Tiny Life charity quiz, doing another one for those guys in November, which you can all tune into, and there'll be some fantastic prize and guest announcers on that as well. But as well as that, a big shout out to the guys at Triple Dot Studios who hired me there at the weekend to do their quiz for them, and their socially distanced team. So yes, it's the perfect social distancing activity. If you want to give us a shout, all the links there on the social media channels there on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Anyway, moving on to the next round. This is one you're either going to love or hate. It's the sports round. Yes, I know a lot of people, they know I'm a sports fan, and it's one of those things. I always do a sports round this week. But this week is all going to be about massive sporting rivalries. We're going to test your knowledge on some of the big sporting head-to-heads from various different types of games in the next 6 questions. So here we go, round 5 questions. So, which team has the most wins in the Ryder Cup, the USA or Europe? So yeah, you've got 2 options there. If you don't know it, you can always just guess. So yes, like any of these things, you've got 4 options there. You've got a 1 in 4 chance or a 1 in 3 chance in some of these questions, but you've got a 1 in 2 chance here with this. But round 5, question 1. Which team has the most wins in the Ryder Cup? Is it the USA or Europe? There's Roy Mack there. Round 5, question 2. Which 2 teams in the south of England make up the M23 Derby? Really dorkily nerdy question there if you know your English motorways, and take it from me, I had to drive all the way back from London all the way up to Lancaster, only to miss my ferry because it went an hour early, and then all the way down to Holyhead. And so yes, I've got a kind of fairly good knowledge of English roads now. Yes, the M1, the M25 and the M6. Spent about 10 hours on those. Not fun. Anyway, but round 5, question 2. Which 2 English teams in the south make up the M23 Derby? Next one, round 5, question 3. Which 2 teams make up the Bay Bridge Series rivalry in baseball? Again, probably a little bit of knowledge of geography might help you out with this one. The Bay Bridge Series, it's known as. Both teams play in different leagues, but when they do meet each other head-to-head, it's known as the Bay Bridge Series. They have met in the World Series before, last time in 1989, when one of the teams actually beat them 4-0, and it was actually a massive earthquake in the city, so that might give you a clue to which 2 teams I'm talking about. But round 5, question 3. Which 2 teams make up the Bay Bridge Series rivalry in baseball? Kind of like the Subway Series with the Mets and the Yankees. These are 2 teams in the West Coast. Anyway, round 5, question. So head-to-head, which pro tennis legend had more wins? Was it John McEnroe or Bjorn Borg? Or were they equal? See, that could be interesting. Now, I'm basing this on their record. They've met about 40... I'm not too sure exact, but I did look it up, and it's quite interesting to see this. But head-to-head, which of these 2 pro tennis legends have won more titles against each other? John McEnroe or Bjorn Borg? I know what you're thinking. You cannot be serious. Anyway, round 5, question 4. The answer might surprise you. Round 5. Round 5, question 5. Who are the current holders of the Ashes, the legendary cricket rivalry between England and Australia? Interestingly, there is a rule there about if the series is drawn, who gets to retain the little urn. The actual title of the Ashes goes all the way back to the 1880s, I believe, in a defeat against the Australians, led the sporting world bemoaning the loss against their former colonists, and they said that the funeral of English cricket would be at a certain place and that the Ashes would be delivered at a certain time, and hence the term the Ashes rivalry between the two teams. But yes, who are the current holders of the Ashes? And I'm, like I said before, considering that if it's a draw, the team that's previously won it do retain it, kind of like the Lions. Anyway, round 5, question 5. And finally, round 5, question 6. Who, along with Jimmy Robinson, is the only player to score for both sides in the North London derby? Manchester United fans, do look away now. Your team was roundly beaten 6-1 today by Tottenham Hotspur. I think Arsenal got a win as well today. I'm not too sure, or last night. Big up West Ham, who won today as well. I'm very, very happy about that. Winning 3-0, very convincingly winning 3-0 against Leicester City. A very, very good Leicester City away. So I'm quite happy about that. But who, along with Jimmy Robinson, is the only player to score for both sides in the North London derby? And you might be relieved, but that's the very, very end of the sports round. Anyway, so which team has the most wins in the Ryder Cup, the USA or Europe? 2, which two teams in the south of England make up the M23 Derby? 3, which two teams make up the Bay Bridge Series in baseball? 4, which of the two pro tennis legends have had more wins against each other head-to-head, John McEnroe or Bjorn Borg? 5, who are the current holders of the Ashes, the legendary cricket rivalry between England and Australia? And 6, who, along with Jimmy Robinson, is the only player to score for both sides in the North London derby? I'll let you stew over that for a little bit before we move on to the next round. Anyways, yes, thankfully, sports is done. That's the last of the sports one. Like I said, do sports one it's round 5 every week. I've always kept it like that because it's one of those things. I know it is the big nerd quiz, but at the same time, sports fans are the biggest nerds in the world. They don't know it. Anyways, we're moving on to the next round tonight. And a bit of a change up. It is science. No particular theme with these science questions this week. I've just decided to throw a random group of facts and figures together to come up with some sort of a round at the last minute. But anyway, yesterday, like I said, I was out celebrating my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mum, again. But like I said, it's one of those things. I only managed to get writing the quiz round about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And I kind of figured, like, science, yeah, no special theme to this one. We're just going to kick off round 6. So round 6, question 1. In which modern-day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? Yes, Marie Curie and her husband were famous in discovery of radiation and radioactivity. But yes, round 6, question 1. In which modern-day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? I think she won both Nobel Prizes and the first female winner of physics and chemistry, I believe, all the way back in the early 20th century. But round 6, question 1. In which modern-day country was physicist and chemist Madame Marie Curie born? Round 6, question 2. Zr is the chemical symbol for which chemical element? Yeah, I always throw one of these in because they're just kind of like the most basically obvious, science questions you can do. And if you're ever stuck from one, just look up a periodic table and just pick one at random. But yes, round 6, question 2. Zr is the symbol for which chemical element? Okay, moving on to the next one. Round 6, question 3. Where in the human body would the limbic system be found? So it's round 6, question 3. Where in the human body would the limbic system be found? I haven't really used that many images for these because, I can't, probably either give away too much. But yes, I do hope that the me flying about Warm Point, my giant head flying about Warm Point, isn't making you nauseous at any point. Do let me know what you think of this, though. It is pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to make a longer one and then probably make other ones of me flying through space and stuff like that, just to kind of make things, jazz things up a bit. But anyway, round 6, question 3. Where in the human body would the limbic system be found? Moving on. Round 6, question 4. In which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? So any budding physicists I know everybody seems to become an expert virologist on Facebook and social media from what I'm looking at. Suddenly everybody knows, about R-naughts and spreads of certain viruses and vaccines. And so, yeah, it's amazing to see that kind of level of knowledge and expertise coming out of the woodwork, from people who I never would have thought would have had any interest or any kind of, research expertise in that sort of field. But anyway, here you go. But in what part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? That's round 6, question 4. Next one, round 6, question 5. What is cynophobia a fear of? This is probably a lot more common than you think. But yes, we all know arachnophobia is fear of spiders, which is very natural for everybody because, we all just fear little things and little creatures like that. It's primordial in a way. You've got agoraphobia, claustrophobia. But yes, cynophobia is a fear of what? Round 6, question 5. Again, like I said, you might actually have it yourself and you might not know. Well, you probably don't. I don't. Anyway, but round 6, question 5. And finally, round 6, question 6. The Pascal is a unit of measurement of what? Now, again, very kind of careful to kind of throw these together. And I've always, anytime I've done questions about kind of measurements and stuff, I have had scientists text me and pull me out on them and be like, that's completely wrong. No. But believe me, this is to the best of my knowledge what it is. And like I said, I do research and write all these questions myself. But round 6, question 6. The Pascal is a unit of measurement of what? And that is your final roundup of science questions. We wrap those up there. And which modern day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? 2, ZR is the symbol for which chemical element? 3, where in the human body would the limbic system be found? 4, in which part of the human body would you find the atlas bone? 5, of what is cynophobia a fear of? And 6, the Pascal is a unit of measurement of what? I'll let you stew over those for the next couple of seconds before we move on to the next round. Just having a wee look here to see if there's any shoutouts or mentions. And anyways, moving on. Yes, actually, just looking here on my phone, we do have a couple of people who are texting in. Sharon Croft has texted in as well. She's mentioned this. Thanks for the heads up about the volume and everything. Debbie Furlong as well. Thank you for tuning in. Sadie Bradbury and Clive Kernick. Big shout out to you guys. Thanks to you for tuning in this week. And we had another message there from somebody else there. Have a wee look in the Big Nerd Pub Quiz Instagram page. A big shout out to, let me see, Stephen O'Hara, who's playing, and Clive Curran, who's currently watching on Facebook. So yes, big up to you guys, and thanks very much for joining the quiz. Like I said, it's been going on for quite a while now. We're into October, having started the quiz all the way back in March, and it was, like I said, it's something for me to do, some kind of random bit of something to keep my mind occupied. And now, again, I think we've done up to 80 quizzes on YouTube, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I've only taken one break, and it was last week when I went back over to England to get all my stuff. Anyway, coming into the last 15 minutes of the quiz, and we've got 2 more rounds to go. So let's fire on and fire up the next one. Thought I'd do a bit of a different one about geography this week. Yes, I've always had a bit of a fascination with national anthems. If you're like me and tend to go to a lot of rugby games and soccer games, you'll find that there's a lot of very colourful and strange national anthems out there and pre-ritual ceremonies regarding sports games and stuff like that. But yes, these 6 questions are all about different countries' national anthems. So let's see how you get on with this. Round 7, question number 1. So yes, which city is referenced in the title of the French national anthem? And I can definitely tell you that being in the Stade de France and listening to 70,000 French people singing the French national anthem is a sight to behold and to hear. It really, really does make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. And I am telling you, it is pretty class. And you know what? As far as national anthems goes, theirs is the best, hands down. It's just got all the elements. It's just real kick in the ass. national anthem as far as it goes. But yes, round 7, question 1. Which city is referenced in the title of the French national anthem? Round 7, question 2. Who is credited with writing the words to the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? I've mentioned this occasionally before because there's a little connection. The actual anthem's words were written by a particular poet who was at the Battle of Bladensburg in 1812. And the British general who was attacking the Americans at that time, was a General Robert Ross from Restrever. So there's a bit of a local connection from Restrever there all the way to Baltimore. But yes, round 7, question 2. Who is credited with writing the words to the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? You know how it goes. Oh, say, can you see? That's it. Anyway, moving on to the next round, or next question. So yes, round 7, question 3. I learned this one on QI a couple of weeks ago, but yes, of which European country's national anthem contains a pledge of allegiance to the King of Spain? And it's one of the oldest codified national anthems, goes all the way back to the 17th century. But yes, which European country's national anthem contains a pledge of allegiance to the King of Spain? It's probably not as obvious as you think. That's the only clue I'm going to give you on that. But yes, round 7, question 3. Which European country's national anthem contains a pledge of allegiance to the King of Spain? I can't really explain it. Anyway. Again, apologies to any speakers out there who I offend by my terrible pronunciation of this, but Hen Flad Fai Nadu, or O Land of My Fathers, is the translated title of which country's national anthem. And as far as national anthems goes, I have to say this is probably one of the better ones. And if you get it from the fact that I am a rugby fan, that this would probably give you a clue. But round 7, question 4. Hen Flad Fai Nadu, or Old Land of My Fathers, is the translated title of which country's national anthem? Round 7, question 5. How many languages make up the national anthem of South Africa? Yes, the Rainbow Nation was adopted in 1994 after the new constitution and the election of Nelson Mandela after being freed from Robben Island after 33 years, or 27 years, sorry, in 1990. But yes, the Rainbow Nation has many languages, and of course they all fit into the South African national anthem. But how many actual languages make up? You can obviously tell English is in there, Afrikaans, but there's a couple of others. But how many in total make up the national anthem of South Africa? And finally, round 7, question 6. Who composed the cross-border anthem Ireland's Call, which is used at Irish rugby matches? I've also been told they use it at Irish cricket matches and Irish hockey matches anytime we have a kind of cross-border sporting team. I'm not a fan of it. It's okay. You know, I think it should be Danny Boy or something like that, you know, because Danny Boy is written in the north, and I don't know. I just think it's okay. It's a little bit cringy, especially when you're abroad and you're singing it, and you know, you got the guys singing Flower of Scotland beside you, and you're like, yeah, this isn't as good. It's not as good. But anyway, round 7, question 6. Who actually composed the cross-border anthem Ireland's Call, which is used at the Irish rugby matches? And there's your round 7 roundup. Quickly go through those again before the last round. But which city is referenced in the title of the French national anthem? 2, who's credited with writing the words to the American anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? 3, which European country's anthem contains the Pledge of Allegiance to the King of Spain? Land of My Fathers, or Hen Flad Fly Nadu, is translated title of which country's national anthem? 5, how many languages makes up the national anthem of South Africa? And 6, who composed the cross-border anthem Ireland's Call, which is used at Irish rugby matches? Yes, I'm really keen to go back to watching rugby again. In fact, the Six Nations is going to be kicking off in a couple of weeks' time. The Ireland-France game, which I was meant to be at just before lockdown struck, me and my buddies we had the Eurostar and all booked. But anyway, seeing those pictures there just makes my, you know, and actually the fact that I was in Japan last year, it's come up on my Facebook feed. It was like, do you remember what you were doing last year? I was in Osaka, and I was like, yes. But anyway, round 7, we've got one more to go. Like I said, it's 10 minutes to 9. We'll have it nicely wrapped up before the end. Anyway, your final round today, a little bit different from the rest of them. Let's hope you enjoy this one. Yes, round 8. Normally I have arts and literature as this one, but mainly this one is all art. So no literature, basically. Anyway, your final round today. Don't forget, just before the very end of your quiz, all you have to do is hit submit. And once you do that, you'll get your scores at the very end, but do stick about and you see where you went right and when you went wrong when I read out all the answers at the very end. So here we go, round 8, question number 1. Yes, which artist painted the poppy field in 1873, as you can see there in the visuals? If you're listening on the radio, you can't hear it, obviously, but which artist painted the poppy field in 1873? I've had to kind of do away with picture rounds since we've kind of moved on to a dual audio and video format. But yes, round 8, question 1. Which artist painted the poppy field in 1873? Round 8, question 2. Oh, this is a bit of literature in this. Anyway, which Shakespeare play is the following quote from "The course of true love never did run smooth"? There are literature questions in this. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know where I pulled that one from, but anyway, round 8, question 2. There is art. I thought I was going to do this exclusively art, but anyway. Which Shakespeare play is the following quote from "The course of true love never did run smooth"? That's round 8, question 2. Round 8, question 3. Guernica, The Weeping Woman, and La Rêve are all works by the same artist. Can you name him or them? Or, yeah. But yes, I've actually seen Guernica recently in a art gallery in Madrid. That's kind of a clue to this particular artist. It's absolutely stunning. It's pretty big as well. But yes, Guernica, The Weeping Woman, and La Rêve are all works by the same artists. Can you name them? Round 8, question 3. Round 8, question 4. Sir Quentin Saxby Blake is the English cartoonist, illustrator, and children's writer best known for illustrating the books by which well-known British author? So round 8, question 6. I might even give you a little bit more of a clue in there. But yes, round 8, question 4. Sir Quentin Saxby Blake is an English cartoonist, illustrator, and children's writer best known for illustrating books by which author? Round 8, question 5. Your penultimate question for this evening. How many lines are there in a sonnet? If you have an English teacher on hand, maybe they'll be able to tell you. If you don't, well, cast your mind back to all those very stimulating poetry classes from your GCSE and A-level years. But yes, round 8, question 5. How many lines are there in a sonnet? And here comes your final question. Don't forget, once you hit submit, you'll get your scores. But do stick about to see how you got on in the end. Here it is, round 8, question 6. So, the creation of Adam is one of 9 scenes featured on the ceiling of which Rome landmark? So yes, round 8, question 6. The creation of Adam is one of 9 scenes featured on the ceiling of which Rome landmark? Yes, the very famous, often parodied creation of Adam. Created by Michelangelo, of course. Round 8, question 6. There's your final question tonight. And there's your roundup. So, which artist painted the poppy field in 1873? 2. Which Shakespeare play is the following quote? "The course of true love never did run smooth." 3. Guernica, The Weeping Woman, La Rêve are works by the same artist. Who is it? Quentin Blake is the English cartoonist who illustrated the books by which author? 5. How many lines are there in a sonnet? And the creation of Adam is one of 9 scenes featured on the ceiling of which Roman landmark? All right, that's it for tonight on the 4th of October 2020. But let's see how you got on. I'm going to be reading out the answers for the questions. Do let me know in the comments section or give us a DM on Instagram or Twitter. Don't forget to follow Harbourside Radio on all the different social media channels and Big Nerd Pub Quiz. And don't forget, I have a PayPal and Patreon account if you fancy throwing me a couple of bob there to keep the quiz afloat and keep me in fish and chips for the next couple of weeks, then by all means do that. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Big thanks to everyone who played tonight. Anyway, here are your answers. Let's see how you got on. So Sputnik was the first satellite launched by the Russians on this day, October the 4th, 1957. Neil Buchanan was the presenter of Art Attack, who is mistakenly mistaken as Banksy. Shura Kitata won the London Marathon today. Las Vegas releasing a new album next year. Cineworld sadly closing all its branches, which is a damn shame, I'm going to have to say. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are the current holders of the Stanley Cup. Sid Barrett is the person that Shine On You Crazy Diamond and Wish You Were Here was written about. Peter Blake designed the cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Smile was the album that preceded, or was meant to precede, or proceed Pet Sounds, released in 2004. The Black Album, or Metallica, is the best-selling Metallica album. Vincent Price featured on the score, or on the soundtrack of Thriller. And The Bodyguard is the biggest selling album by a solo artist. It's The Bodyguard by Whitney Houston, believe it or not. Followed by Come Right Over by Shania Twain, Jagged Little Pill, and the one by Celine Dion, which I listed as well. Believe it or not, Adele hasn't got there yet. She will, but in terms of the biggest selling artists, it's The Bodyguard. Those high schools, so The Inbetweeners, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, King of the Hill, Stranger Things, Saved by the Bell, and Community were all the schools there mentioned. The schools mentioned from those TV series. First ever televised debate was between JFK and Nixon. They actually thought Nixon looked or sounded better, but JFK had the presidential look that beat Nixon. Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, used by Bill Clinton. Mitt Romney was defeated by Barack Obama in 2014. Geraldine Ferraro was the first female vice presidential candidate in 1984 with Walter Mondale, not Sarah Palin. Donald Trump is the oldest person to assume the Oval Office in number 5 there, and Florida was the state where the contentious recount happened. The USA have more victories over Europe in the Ryder Cup. The derby there is the Crystal Palace versus Brighton and Hove. The Bayside series is the Oakland A's versus the San Francisco Giants. Neither. It's actually Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe, when playing against each other, have actually equaled their tallies of, I think it's 14 apiece. So that's pretty cool, actually. Australia currently hold the Ashes, and Emmanuel Adebayor is the player who scored for both Spurs and Arsenal in the North London derby. Science questions there. Poland was the birthplace of Marie Curie. Synchronium for ZR. The brain is where that system is. Spine of the back is where the atlas bone is. Dogs. Cynophobia is a fear of dogs. And I know a few people who do have that, so it's not that uncommon. And Pascal's measure pressure. Round 7, your national anthem was one. It was La Marseillaise. So Marseille is the location mentioned in the French national anthem. Francis Scott Key wrote the US national anthem. The Netherlands has that kind of weird line, I pledge allegiance to the King of Spain. Again, I learnt that off Stephen Fry. Wales, land of my fathers, or old land of my fathers. There are 5 languages in the South African national anthem. And Phil Coulter wrote the Ireland's Call. And finally, Cloud Monet did the Poppies, Midsummer's Night Dream, The Course of True Love Never Did Run Smooth. Pablo Picasso, but Guernica there, Roald Dahl, was the author, or the Quentin Blake's collaborator there. 14 lines in a sonnet. And finally, the Sistine Chapel in Rome is the creation of Adam in by Michelangelo on the Sistine Chapel. So absolutely fantastic work. Anyway, that's it from this Big Nerd Pub Quiz this week. Hope you've all had fun. Like I said, the time now exactly 9 o'clock. I'm way home to bed and put the head down. Like I said, I've had a very, very long week on the roads. Felt very, very, felt like a trucker at some point. Like, just going from truck stop to stop to stop and driving for 10 hours straight and drinking nothing but iced coffee and Monster energy drink just to keep myself from falling asleep at the wheel. But yes, thank you very much for playing Big Nerd Pub Quiz on Harbourside Radio, our new home. If you want to play any of our specialty quizzes that I've done over the last couple of months, if you're into Father Ted, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, football, you name it, we've done it. We've done horror movie quizzes. Do check them out on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Big Nerd Pub Quiz. Also, to give you a heads up, I'm going to be doing the quiz for the horror movie festival put on by the guys at Banterflex in a couple of weeks. So do keep an eye out for that. I'm really looking forward to that, as well as the One World quiz I'm doing for those guys, a big charity fundraising event in a couple of weeks as well as Tiny Life and various other Christmas parties. But do stick about and tune in to let me know, and any feedback or if you want any shout outs or any ideas for quizzes that you would like to hear or any questions you'd like read out yourself, by all means do get in touch with me. Big Nerd Pub Quiz at gmail.com is the way to get in touch, as well as all the different social medias. Anyway, also do check out the fantastic new shows on Harbourside Radio, the greatest and the most exciting community radio station this side of County Down. Anyway, thanks again. I will see you all again next week. Really appreciate you all coming in. 11th of October, 8 p.m. on HarboursideRadio.com. I'll see you there. If not, I'll let you know. Like I said, life is a funny way of coming at you. But anyway, see you all again next week, guys. Thanks for playing. Much love. And like I said before, stay safe. Have a good night.